It's only 40% of you are going that way. Just a second from kicking this bad boy off. You see XSET's going to start on the defensive side. Pure opting to go for Sheriff early on as Immortals leans towards B.
Love Jet Sheriff buys, but like you said, plays towards B. Jet dash in, and already we see a fast play from Immortals. Entry going the way of JC, standing on to Aaron. Despite the fact that maybe we're locked on Pure as a perspective, we do have a lot of action going down at B, and now on a 5v3, a retake here for XSET.
Yeah, BCJ was alone on the site there. It was a brutal spot. He's eventually going to drop as XSET, or excuse me, as Immortals are able to take the site. They get the spike down. Now we see XSET as they try to retake things. JC Stanley's gonna drop. He did on the Phoenix. We saw a chaotic pistol round earlier. Rossi was devastating from that exact spot yesterday. Lex will see if he's able to do anything here. The clock continuing to tick away. Thwyfo's left alone. There's that Sheriff. Good for one. He only has 21 health, though. He's not going to be around for long. Shot up takes care of him. Immortals win the pistol.
Standard B execute with JC Stanley picking up 3 with a frenzy along the tailwind towards Switch. But man, that we're talking a little bit about XSET moving into this map, having just warmed up a bit, and of course we're only one round in. But Thwyfo did pick up 3. It's not as though they were completely harmless on the retake. A bit unfortunate. It was Pure getting with a recon dart getting spammed through that wall. He's very uncomfortable early, and an early Phantom coming out here from AC Standing as the A main pressure comes through. See whether or not they meet any resistance now. Oh boy.
Gangsta was good for one. There was JC Stanley's Phantom that you mentioned coming online, and good for his second one as well. He had all those 3 kills in the opening round, 1 point away from the Bladestorm. Now he's got that online. The investment from the Phantom paying off as XSET. They've got a Bucky and they've got a Marshall. Well, they had a Marshall. Thwyfo's all that's left.
JC Standing farming those eco frags with the Phantom. Yeah. Which, you know what, man? You get a 3-piece on the pistol. I guess you earned that. But covering no weaponry yet. You got Thwyfo holding onto that Buggy. I can't imagine he's going to be, I was about to say, getting any more than 1 kill here, and he almost did. Chemicals cutting it close. Imagine there's a world in which he comes away with 3 or 4 kills and makes me look like an idiot. However, got a he was able to save the Spectre at least, but passes his head on to BCJ, buys one of his own.
All right, so he's going full up Phantom. He's going to have light armor. He also has that lockdown. You wonder if early on here they choose to invest it.
Yeah. And they did this a couple times against, Envy in the previous series, where they walked right into B main.
Oh boy.
For another B execute.
Yep, JC Stanley with the Bladestorm didn't spot him, and Aaron was just able to hold things down. Aaron with 3 already, looking for more. Flip punch try, he's gonna have to reload. Oh, not able to land the second. Rossi does, but it didn't matter at that point. XSET had done so much off the back of Aaron to give them the advantage, and then at that point it was just really dotting your I's and crossing your T's at the end for Pure to get the last XSET on the board.
Yeah, I don't know if JC Stanley just didn't see Aaron in that position, or if Aaron just executed some really nice trigger discipline, but came away with 3 almost unresponded damage in his direction. Just being able to buy all that time for your team alone, so strong, but finding the 3 frags certainly doesn't hurt. And that early, of course that was just a bonus, but early B main push, at least for Immortals. Oh. Cleaned up nicely by XSET. Now early mid aggression is being paid back in turn onto JC Stanley's face.
Shot up's getting messed up a bit as well. He's gonna have to back off. The ult orb going into the hands of Gangsta as he gets 1 step closer to bringing that Hunter Fury online. Meanwhile, Shot up just continuing to push the matter in, getting another kill onto Aaron through the smoke. They're gonna have full access onto A. Unless we can do something about it. Unfortunate, man. The wall's there. That hot hands isn't going to come through. Now he's going to shoot it out. Rossi playing back, trying to stay alive. So important in this situation. There's that lockdown that we talked about earlier. Shot up potentially looking to challenge. Spots 1 player, but has to back up. Yeah, they have to respect this lockdown. Oh, the lockdown goes down. They're gonna funnel into the site now. Shot up already good for 3. He did. Looking for more. Lands it. Looking for a second. He's gonna have to switch to the classic. He's gonna get sucker punched on the side by Shot Up, feeling much better this round than what we heard from him last night. He gets 4. Rossi gets the last. Immortals get to 3.
I don't think Shot Up let go of W throughout that entire course of the round. Just non-stop moving phantom frags. The man's getting it done. He's feeling good. And yeah, I mean, contrasting that interview from yesterday, that's you know, if he shows up again today and he's like, man, I played terribly despite the fact that he was top rated, I'm gonna call him out on it. Because Shot Up, you're on fire, man. 3 rounds for Immortals now, and you know, XSET, who against Envy found a lot of their success, if we want to call it a lot, on the defensive side. Okay, we did immediately finding one of the JC Sanity mid again.
Well, and this is the exact look that we saw against Envy, but far more successful. But Rossi actually is able to get a couple of really big kills to turn things back in favor of Immortals. XSET just down to 2 now as Weeded drops. Pure is down to 62 health. And this was a weird buy, right? Like, I think there was a share from the hands of BCJ, but a couple of other rifles in there. It wasn't full strength as Immortals was. You're seeing some of that play out. But Pure, again, looking to put the team on his back. Oh my gosh. Pure good for 2. Wifo gets 1 as well. All of a sudden, you blink and you miss it. Numbers advantage in favor of Immortals. Wifo secures it. They rob that round from Immortals.
Yeah, I mean, we started out with the entry from Weeded, but it almost is becoming characteristic at this point where, you know, despite the fact that XSET finds the entries, they find some way to throw it away. There was 2 players that fell towards Rossi. I think it was B-Main. Really fell apart quickly, but the same heroes that were aforementioned, Thwifo and Pure, just able to bring rounds, those impact frags coming up so big, and right there, really that was an Immortals round to be won. Would have been a 4-1, you know, things would have been great for them. And instead, XSET wins the round, is able to buy back into this one, of course, and you know, the score remains close at 3-2, but the greater story there, I think, is that XSET recovered from a disastrous situation in a round and came away with one that maybe they shouldn't have.
Now Aaron on the Spectre, he's got the Cosmic Divide. He's the only one not rocking a rifle on the side of XSET. Meanwhile, for Immortals here, they made a good bit of noise early on. Got some info that there's nobody pushing in aggressively across the middle of the map. But they're playing this one slow, cutting noise before they show anything. There are a ton of Astra Stars waiting for them on the entrance to A.
Yeah, and this Aldrome will confirm things for XSET. They don't need to be too uncomfortable because they have no information anywhere on the map. But now they know at least that Immortals is in a main. Execute comes out.
Oh, Pure having to dash away after there's a good bit of aggression coming in from JC Staney. Gangsta using the Hunter's Fury. Tag a couple of members up. But Immortals managed to get onto the site. They disposed of the 2 members that were waiting there, and now XSET in a 3v5, looking to retake. No ultimates online. They just kind of have to wait out the Cosmic Divide, and now they're going to go. ECJ looking to shoot through the wall. That's huge. Twyfo's going to have to invest even more utility, and yeah, that's a good bit of information from the alarm bot, understanding where JC Staney is. The clip runs dry. BCJ's left alone, and oh no. A brutal spot, trying to get some more information, trying to use that utility to try to tip things back in his favor. Terrible timing as he drops. Immortals get to 4.
Yeah, I don't know what just fell apart there for XSET. They had all the players in the right spots. They needed to somehow collect themselves and make a defense of it at A, and instead, almost no damage being returned for the first 2 frags. First bloods go the way of Immortals, and man, that's painful because, you know, to some degree, you've got to think, defensively speaking, XSET, they've shown us some aggression. They may actually do it over here towards B-Main again. But the aggression hasn't worked out for them.
Right.
You know, they haven't come out these rounds really anything more than maybe a man up for a moment or 2 before it gets traded. And finally, they give a passive look. They give a correct stack on the correct side of the map. And yet, Immortals just blow right through them. Now it's 4-2 with a really broken buy for XSET, who fails to build a bank on the prior round. And this is a little scary, I think, for XSET, Doug.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just look at Immortals right now. They're just wandering through mid and most of the map. They haven't seen any aggression here on this low bot round from XSET. So all they need to do is be a little bit diligent when it comes to clearing things out, take their time with it when it comes to actually hitting the site. Clearing B main here against We Did.
With a Bucky.
Yeah, and as long as they do
easier
that,
said than done.
yeah, as long as they don't get Buckied, it should be there around here.
I love how Immortals are just, I mean, they're really quiet about it, right? Like, they're methodically moving their way towards, right, here we go. The alarm bot got shot out, that was cue. They had to go forward. We did not able to land on anything with the Bucky. Meanwhile, shot up in Gangsta. Take care of a couple of members of XSET that were there, that were waiting, trying to play spoiler. Again, you have to remember they didn't have much as far as gun goes, but you don't really need a gun when you've got Pur's Blade Storm. He drops, Aaron gets one as well. 2 members left on the side of XSET, 11 seconds left. They managed to get the spike down. But that's really, I mean, XSET, as much as they delayed that, that was all they were really able to do. Rossi takes care of BCJ at the end there. You felt the gun difference, and maybe there's a world in there with Pure and the Blade Storm. They're able to make something happen, a little bit of magic, but just ran a bit dry as Immortals continue to pile on.
Yeah, and Immortals making all the right calls here. And that's why I think to some degree, maybe well, it's 5-2. It's not as though this is half completely over. You could absolutely
right
see a world in which XSET can claw their way back into this. You collect 7 rounds and have a winning half, but really, I mean, talking about being warm coming into this series, coming out confident, all those things that we talked about in the pregame, well, none of it has really come to pass. The only positive thing you could really say is that a few players on XSET are playing exceptionally well, Pure being one of them. Finding that entry for his team, making this retake on A that'll be coming out any moment now. A little bit easier in a 5-on-4.
Ooh, good lineup with the hot hands. And that doesn't feel good. Rossi down to 50 health. But the spike eventually does go down. Excuse me. The Hunter Spirit coming out from BCJ. Able to get one. Gangsta alone. Woo. Not around for long. Pure gets 3. XSET with an excellent response, and it really, I mean, across the board, Lex, the use of the ultimates, waiting out the hunters, or excuse me, the lockdown from chemicals, We Did with the hot hands, it all came together for XSET.
It was beautiful. They had the early information, and I think the biggest part, because the lockdown did get dropped, nobody on XSET was surprised or out of position. And I mean that as in, they've got the early information, they've got the intel on where they're going, and all you need to do is not get shot in the face. And Pure even being confident enough in his game right now to kind of swing out of heaven, get that first frag. I think it was onto Aaron. You know, that really changes the complexion of the round, because yes, if you yield the site, you don't give up any kills, but you don't get any either. And it's a 5-on-5 retake. Like, that really is really tough to win as a defender, no matter what's going on, especially when you haven't burned their utils. So instead, as you said, they hold fast. We Did gets a hot hands out. All of the util, the retake is very well choreographed, and XSET showing us the life that we know they have right now, but haven't necessarily had an opportunity to showcase it yet in this matchup. But they find their third.
They do, and they're in a position here where they're able to really get something going, right? Builds off of some of that momentum and really pile it on. You're seeing that Nano Swarm come out, clear out top cat. That might be just enough. No, they're not moving. They're not really biting on it. Meanwhile, BCJ with his drone getting a good bit of info across B. So at this point, right, like, there's no utility that's been tripped on A. They just got some good info on B. But now the jig's surely going to be up.
Get out of my way.
He doesn't move, though. He knows that easy enough as it is to dodge that utility. Here it is. Deep push coming in from Immortals.
You see the adaptation from JC Stanley, checking that again because he wasn't going to be punished twice. Blade's just going a bit wide. Aaron seemed to be missing a ton of shots himself. But either way, he's able to get the kill with the classic. Pure looking for one as well. Shot up. Looking to put the round on his back. It's actually Rossi who's good for one. We Did alone. Lockdown there. This is certainly a winnable spot, but yes, good for one curveball, good for the second. We Did clutches out the round for XSET.
Okay. And that is a player that we've needed to come online here for XSET and make something happen. We Did showing his stuff, collecting 2 on the retake, wins the clutch. And really, I mean, I think it was Pure who really started the retake for XSET. Down 2. But even right here, you think 2-on-1. Shot up in Rossi on site with the spike going down. The issue was, not only is the lockdown limiting your space, but you only got 10 seconds left. 10 seconds left on the round.
Right.
You're really constrained and confined to the amount of spots you can play, and
oh baby,
he did just toying with it. There's DCJ with the Odin to open things up on a gangster that does not feel good.
Right, and that's really important for XSET, right? Because once you get a couple of boxes that go your way, right? Like things start to go your way, you feel some of that momentum, you get something going, all of a sudden you play with a bit more confidence. We did with the clutch, BCJ already getting 1. This could be a pivotal moment in the series for XSET if they're able to continue to capitalize. The other thing worth mentioning, Lex, is that Immortals is on a weird buy, right? Like JC Stanley has something, Rossi maybe with the Spectre, but it's pistols the rest of the way.
Right here.
Yeah, I kind of figured this would be mostly a full eco out of them instead. There is weaponry, as I say that. The Ares goes down. BCJ just collecting heads with the Odin, a 3rd, perhaps a 4th now.
Yep.
And that's all she wrote. And I think kind of to touch on what you were saying, Doug, you're so right. Having this be a pivotal moment in the half specifically, but perhaps the entire game in the series, where XSET probably 2 or 3 out of the last 3 or 4 rounds, you've had a man advantage early, right? You've had Pure finding a pick, you've had BCJ finding a pick, but not only are you willing to take a little bit more risks now that you've got your economy under control, you've found a little bit of that self-confidence, but you got that for absolutely free, and that's the danger of the Odin Sova combo there over at B is off of little to no information with no risk to yourself. Well, I say no risk. There are a few risks. People can spam back at you after all, but he gets 1 for free, and it's a feel-good frag, and now it's 5s all. Early mid-pressure going the way of XSET. Pure finds 1 into Rossi.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Weeded who used the run it back to clear the middle of the map, but as you mentioned, it was actually Pure. The tandem push enough for him to get a kill, and now he's got that Blade Storm online.
Yeah, taking a lot of map control and
Interesting. Yeah.
tagging. Oh, I lied.
Just enough to get some info, right? Make him think twice, and yeah, Weeded's going to be able to heal up potentially to full. No, just 10 points short. But again, Pure, that space he was able to take. Oh, you can see the temptation. He wanted a swing. Now he goes. Takes care of chemicals. Opshot goes just a bit wide as Pure continues to really wreak havoc across the middle of the map.
Yeah, shot up, losing his duel onto Aaron means this will be a 5-on-2. JC standing low HP with the operator at A main. He'll fall. Gangsta now with the Odin, who may at some point in this round have hopes to counter spam. Now he's getting pushed hard by the likes of XSET, who are now. I mean, you pegged it as a pivotal round, Doug, and I think you may have had the most omniscient freaking take of the day so far, where you're seeing things for what they are, and that is absolutely right. You haven't seen XSET drop around since, and now they're winning the half, 6-5.
Yeah, they look good. You're feeling some of that like confidence play out, and it wasn't just Weeded playing aggressively, using the run it back to take the middle of the map, but again, Pure followed, got himself into a good spot to be able to provide a big impact kill later on to Chemicals, and now they're going to continue really to cook on that, right? Pure peeking heavy with the op, going to use the Blade Storm. Weeded was there as well. Meanwhile, for Immortals, this is a heavy A hit. I mean, no question about it. That's where they want to go. The Empress is coming online. Aaron with the op, good for 1. And Pure has 1 as well. Dueling operators as they try to cross. Really lock down entrance into the site, but Gangsta on the Sova is enough to stop things for the time being. But look, even with that in mind, feeling the pressure of both of those ops, Immortal says, let's get the heck out of here. They're going to pull off.
Yeah, that double operator is not exactly something you want to be walking into. Aaron does get traded out, though. So for Immortals, the decision to kind of walk away, you leave JC standing in wine, maybe come back to A when you're ready, and they've walked all the way up catwalk, and Pure is going to be holding this angle so aggressively. This is really dangerous, Doug.
Oh, they're gonna swing. Pure narrowly missing. Meanwhile, JC Stanley goes in aggressively. Challenges Weeded. Pure drops as well. You highlighted it was dangerous, and JC Stanley making you look brilliant in that moment with the Spectre. Gangsta's gonna get the spike down. A 2v4 here. and there's no reason to pull any punches. The last round of the half, the Cosmic Divide's going to come out. BCJ does have the Hunter's Fury, and we've seen how good he can be with this weapon, but he's severely outnumbered. Oh my gosh! BCJ already gotten 3. Looking for another one. No, Gangsta trades it out. Dwifo, Gangsta in a 1v1. Dwifo, ring around the rosy around the generator, and Gangsta comes up huge for Immortals.
And that's a huge round from Gangsta to solidify that 6-round half. I mean, you think about those frags coming in from BCJ. He had 2 shock darts, a recon dart available to him, and the Hunter's Fury, as you mentioned, and a drone. He had a full kit. And he didn't even need it. Really set his teammate up well, but just came up short. And that is so tragic to see for XSET fans out there. But, you know, there were a few different points in that half, Doug, where me with my, you know, ivory tower of casting and difference, I'm just like, you know what, XSET, this is really looking like a rough half for you guys. Really was looking like it could be a 7-5 Immortals half, and ultimately they were able to bring it back to 6s all. So, you know, for Immortals, I would characterize that as a fantastic attack half, but for XSET, it could have been worse, man.
Oh, no, like I say, I think I'm willing to go further and say that was really a great half from both sides. XSET, they made notable adjustments. They played with a little bit of confidence to get it to where they did. But now on attack, a heavy lean towards A. The spike following as well. Oh, they're split, and they have a couple playing by tiles to check out the middle of the map, understanding nobody's pushing it aggressively. Down Cat from the side of Immortals to kind of play spoiler.
Wonder if they're going to try and work up tree here. No. Using that owl drone to get all that information, and certainly Immortals is aware of it. Yeah.
JC Standy's behind them. JC Standy could be able to play spoiler. Oh, he dealt some damage. But that was it. He was able to dash away. Chemical's still playing back on the site. He has a decent bit of utility to protect him initially. As members of XSET, they're just going to, like 2 ships passing in the night, they're going to work their way through. Chemicals did spot 1, though. The turret's there. Now XSET stuck on the site. JC Standy's there. The Frenzy is there as well. BCJ, gosh, that feels like a horrible place to be. Got a couple of members running at you. Guns blazing, shot up, and Chemicals win the round for Immortals.
Yeah, and another big pistol going the way of Immortals. And you got to think for XSET, you know, every round obviously is going to count here, but we have seen 2 halves out of them on the attack side of 2 different maps so far today, Doug. And the fact of the matter is, the bottom line up front, it has not been great. Not been all gravy. Things have not really been rolling in their favor.
Right.
You hope that pistol round maybe goes their way just by the fact that maybe there's an inkling that they have something in store for us yet. Instead, Immortals, who have looked rock solid at times so far on this first map here on Ascent, are now plowing up a split perhaps for XSET now. Here it comes.
Oh boy. Rossi was waiting there even with the cloud burst. He was able to get one. Now they did pass him. The problem is Rossi was left unchecked, right? Like he can really blow things up from tree, and that's why they're pushing it aggressively towards him. Rossi drops eventually. BCJ good with 2 with the Sheriff, and he's going to upgrade a weapon. Excuse me, Purer is. So you're starting to see some of that advantage go in favor of XSET, but Shot Up might just... My gosh, Shot Up's just going to stick it. The ball's on this guy to stick it, and Gangsta mows him down if they have to challenge him. What a play by Immortals.
Wow. And Immortals just knowing, okay, they've taken tree control. They're indoors. Somebody hold this. I'm sticking. The defuse comes through. No hesitation whatsoever. And now Immortals, really, that round looked like they had no shot at losing it. BCJ came back with 2 Sheriff kills that, you know, really didn't have a tremendous amount of value in the grand scheme of things. They did lose the round, but at least you're keeping their economy in check. You know, you force this bonus round for Immortals to be even weaker than it was before, but still scary for the likes of XSET.
Once again, early Hunter's Fury usage by BCJ. Chemicals didn't even get tagged. The Bucky's not going to do much. And Rossi, yeah, he got 1, but Dwifo was able to pick him apart. They're going to get entry onto the site. Remember, this is a rifle round for XSET 2 into mostly a bonus on the side of Immortals. Gangsta using the drone to try to get some info. This Pure is just so weak. Right, but what can Immortals do to retakes? Gangsta trying to spam through the wall. good bit of utility being used, but that should be all that's left. Pure taking care of JC Staney. Against the equalizing things, understanding there's another player right beneath him. He's going to have to back up, not able to clear out the recon dart. Now they've got to go. They're running out of time. The Lear's there. Aaron in a great spot to play spoiler, even if the rest of it goes sideways. Shot up good for one. He's going to have to drop down and aggressively peek. Shot up's just out of time, man. He was out of time. He didn't have anyone around him. A great round by XSET. Yeah, it was Immortals bonus, but those are important rounds to win.
Yeah, and Aaron and BCJ holding solid at the end. Those are two big guns you want to keep in play in this next round. And yeah, I mean, that was a full bonus for Immortals, so I really was unfortunate. Watching Chemical's POV as they started to come out of A main did not quite connect on the Bucky. That, I mean, getting 3 rifles down, you hope for a little bit more maybe if you're Immortals, maybe cause all 5 to drop and keep that economy in check. But defensively speaking, not a bad round to lose, especially when you're, like I said, you're keeping the economy of XSET in check. And XSET, who, you know, I think as we kind of go through this half, they're going to need to, as we see him on the minimap, JC Staney, more and more ground with that operator. But we're going to see them try and avoid that as much as possible. And over here at mid, they've made almost no contact up until now.
Yeah, they know where they are. Gangsta using the Hunter's Fury, understanding they're across the middle of the map, and Manny's good for one. BCJ drops, the spike follows. And now they're in a position where they have to reconsider things. You also mentioned JC Staney and the space he's been able to take away with the operator down B. Looking like Dwightful wants to challenge that a bit. That's where they want to go, and JC Staney may get his chance here. No, the Astra utility just enough to push him back, make him think about it. Meanwhile, Shot Up, who's been so patient, I don't think he'd moved the entire round. Good for 2, as Gangsta gets a couple as well. A 3K for Gangsta as Immortals keep that lead by 2.
Wow. JC Staney able to take that B main control early, allows his teammates to turn their attention towards mid, where the entirety of the XSET roster lurked. And yet, Shot Up coming away with 2. Gangsta, the anchor over there at the B side of site. Sidewalk came away with 2 and frags. That is just a beautiful setup, beautiful holding coordination on a crossfire out of Immortals that'll get them their 9th round on the game.
Get out of my way.
Round closer towards taking map 1 as XSET. Really now on a mostly broken buy, we've got 2 Buckies, a Spectre, a Frenzy, and a Classic. Not a whole lot to brag about.
All right, so XSET have shown that they're willing to invest ultimates in ecos. And here we're seeing it again. The lockdown coming out. Pure is going to follow with the Blade Storm. No Hunter's Fury to pave the way. So you see Pure a bit more timid in his entry. But they finally work their way in. JC Staney's options push up. Pure goes in. Pure good for 1. He's going to dash out. Stays alive just barely. As we did with the Bucky. Gets 1. Chemicals trades it out. The spike is down. JC Staney bringing his own Blade Storm into the mix. Cloud. I mean, freaking smokes everywhere. You can't see a dang thing in that site. Now JC Staney dropping down, looking for kill. No, Dwightful was good for it with the Frenzy. Gangsta just blindly shooting down as it looks like XSET are freaking doing this thing with these weird guns. Find themselves in a great spot, but they're so dang weak. Gangsta is as well. He's also running out of time. He's got to go now. What a response from XSET Lex. A thrifty round win. You mentioned they didn't have a whole lot to work with, and they milked every drop they could out of that thing.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it really starts with Pure on the entry, getting that Blade Storm up in the face of Shot Up, but I mean, hats off to XSET on an a thrifty round win, but I'm kind of shocked that Immortals it seemed really overconfident on the retake. A few individuals just trying to make the journey themselves. It cost them. I mean, we were only a few seconds away at the end of the round there for Gangsta to have his recon dart up. You had a Blade Storm from JC Staney. You had a lot of different tools you could work with, and knowing that at least 2 or 3 of those players were in that hell position, I'm surprised they weren't displaying a little bit more patience. And like you mentioned, there was very little health points on the side of XSET to even speak of, so on a thread, they were able to take that round, but it really seemed like it should have gone the other way, despite that fact. The roles have now been reversed, and I could sit here all day and talk about how there's not much home to write about when it comes to Buckies and Sheriffs and Ghosts, but it'd feel pretty dumb saying that, considering they just secured an eco round win with it. So early B main drone coming out from BCJ, and following that is 4 teammates. This B execute is now underway.
They also have a couple of ultimates. They have the Cosmic Divide. They have the Run It Back. You imagine they want to try to hang on to that as best as they can as they clear out B, realize that they're safe, no one's home, and they're going to assume their post plants. The interesting thing is, XSET were in a position where they could play this aggressively and really push into the defender spawn, but not going to do that. Oh, no! Aaron not able to use any of that utility. His shot up's clean. Sheriff takes care of him. JC Staney's going to drop as well, trying to play around the cloud bursts. And Dwifo's just mowing him down, man.
Dwifo's been so good today.
He really has, and Rossi alone here. He's got a Bucky, right? But you wonder if at this point he's just right, like just wait it out, try to trap him in, and try to hurt some of the economy, and potentially go down with them. Why not at this point? But they're gonna funnel out. Oh, Rossi! Oh man! So Rossi took one. Right, and you think about how financially that has an impact, but XSET get us to 9.
Yeah, and you know, even just a few rounds ago, in economic hardship, you know, having slid a few rounds to Immortals, it really was seeming like XSET had a chance maybe to just kind of roll over and give the map. And earlier in this game, I mean, you highlighted the kind of pivotal round that shifted the momentum back towards XSET. That hasn't left them, I don't think. I think even to this point, you know, they're fighting for every one of these rounds and doing so with a little bit more teamwork and cohesion than I think we saw earlier in the day. So 9-all. Timeout coming through, but this is suddenly becoming a very, very interesting map, and it's a hotly contested one, Doug.
It is, and again, you can even deduce by the pause coming out, both teams understanding the importance of this round, right? 9-9, a couple of big ultimates on both sides for both teams. We did carry the run it back into this one. BCJ has one as well. What will XSET cook up?
Keep up.
Yeah, spread mostly in a default. You do have Pure going over here towards this A main peak. Ooh. And that's really close.
All right, here we go. BCJ, yeah. BCJ with the 100 Fury good on JC Staney. We did gets one as well. He still has that run it back. Flash comes out. Shot up punished. Shot up out. We did gets the kill. They're also going to have access onto A here. As you see, the only thing here is that the spike's dragging behind, right? Like, Dwifo's still not there with the spike. They've had so much time with control onto the site. The advantage is the numbers are so heavily in favor of XSET that it's really hard to punish that time window when you've only got 2 left. Rossi and Chemicals here in, I mean, a very difficult situation where they have to take back A. Into 5 members of XSET, you wonder if they just kind of save their rifles here.
Yeah, I think it's fair for them to just be running for their lives at this point because no real shot at retaking. You want to keep the weapons. We're coming down to the wire here in the final rounds of the game, so it would feel wasteful if they were just kind of to throw these weapons away. But enough about Immortals for a moment here. I just want to highlight, finally we're seeing that plan from XSET. Take contact A main. Once you take contact, you pop the Hunter's Fury, and it pays off. BCJ disrupting a lot of that, finding one of the frags himself, and then, you know, haven't really talked about it a whole lot, but every opportunity that I can, I will. We did on the Phoenix, you know, not necessarily quiet, but certainly not delivering, you know, entries every round and finding that space that maybe we saw from Victor in the last series for Envy. Popping the run it back there, finds one, creates a whole lot of space for his team, and that kind of solidifies their ability to take A almost flawlessly, or maybe in fact flawlessly, and that's just a beautiful round for XSET. You know, you burned one ultimate into there, was a BCJ. You've got the run it back on We Did. You've got Cosmic Divide for Aaron. So as these rounds kind of get closer and closer towards the finish line, Doug, XSET is doing all the right things to make sure that they're in that position to win.
We Did and the rest of XSET have taken a good bit of space along B main, clearing out logs, and just being really intelligent about how they play things out. And I like the noise that they made, but it's almost like they're getting the yips, right? Like, we've made some noise. The spike was never really in tow. It wasn't really where they wanted to go.
Well, yeah, I think they made all that noise intentionally to get the orb.
Yeah.
Wifo's got the
Fake.
lockdown in hand now. Yeah, he's gonna pop it, and they're gonna see XSET head towards A. But I wonder if this is gonna be a double fake because they do just use that owl drone. That's got to be the tell, right? Yeah, already
Cosmic
we're seeing
Divide.
members of the Immortals come back.
There's the Cosmic Divide. Coming out from
Double
Rossi,
fake.
and that certainly delays things, right? Like at this point, you don't feel comfortable investing much more. You almost have to wait it out. Here's Dwifo using the lockdown, and it's just chaos, right? Like you see him now scurrying back towards the site. The Hunter Fury coming out from Gangsta. Wise as to where this push is coming in from, as both teams try to get to B as quickly as they can. Here's another counter Cosmic Divide, and look at where Immortals is. They still have 3 members over on A, right? They don't have a full understanding of where the play is. Chemicals is back on that site by himself. We'll see if Rossi's able to play anything out from back in market. Dwifo Wise as to where they are, but the thing is they're running out of time. They've got to be able to get entry onto the site, and they've got to do it fast. And who else but Dwifo to make it happen for? But JC Stanny coming up huge. JC Stanny looking for a 1v1. The spike does go down, but JC Stanny does it again.
Oh my goodness. ECJ and JC Stanny going toe-to-toe on the site in a 1v1 and XSET. Man, they really outmaneuvered and outplayed Immortals 2 times in that round.
Oh,
They
dude, it
forced
was
the
like
rotates.
brutal.
They forced the rotates with the first fake, and then the second fake, Immortals doesn't even bite on it right away. They're like, nah, wait, is that really happening? We're coming. And they send the cavalry towards A, as you mentioned, man. And it really seems as though XSET getting on the site, like a 4-on-2 at one point, maybe a 3-on-2. The site in their possession, and JC Stanny clawing back into that round with some huge frags. And BCJ, who maybe had a quiet series against Envy and a quiet series to start here, has really found some impact. Unfortunately, does not convert there on what could have been the biggest round in the half. In the game, even. Now it's 10 apiece, both teams.
Oh, boy.
So anxious to get it done here. We did falling shot up at A, man.
Right, early aggression really from both teams. Look at the traffic jam on A long. Right, like BCJ and Aaron are able to win that gunfight for XSET as the numbers really equalize, but they're able to apply a good bit of pressure there. Meanwhile, Immortals has 2 of the 3 remaining members back by B. You wonder if Dwifo here makes a bit of noise to keep them around, or if they pull back that way. It looks like they're going to go towards B.
Yeah, and ultimately those
no.
trades.
Go ahead, sorry.
No. Those trades really kind of favor XSET here. I mean, for obvious reasons, the defenders are scattered, really don't have information at either of the mains now. So XSET just wisely saying, okay, we know Killjoy's towards B. Just go ahead and take contact up cat.
30 seconds left.
So I like this. They've cut noise, right? And because they've cut noise, Immortals has to respect that they may be going towards B. That's why they still have 2 over there. And Gangsta, almost like at this point, surely that's not where they are, right? He's playing across the middle of the map to see if they're pushing in that way. But because of how silently they were able to play the map, XSET's going to get access onto A. Spike goes down, and Immortals once again in a retake situation. They have lockdown.
Be huge. Here it is.
All right, and what do XSET do to respond? They don't really have, I mean, they have shock darts, but
Wifo's pushing heaven. They're all pushing heaven.
they are, my gosh. Rossi drops. Chemicals looking for another one. He's not going to be able to respond. What a beautiful response to the lockdown. What a beautiful response to Immortals' attempt at a retake. XSET, a step ahead there.
I love that. And the thing is like when you see that lockdown come out, even from a caster's POV, I'm watching the minimap and I'm watching these players all kind of grouped up underneath heaven. You have 2 options. Either you're pushing door to tree or you're pushing heaven to tree. They go through heaven, and despite the fact that it really looked like they were stomping all along the way, all of the Immortal players were almost shocked to see them there. Well played, a decisive decision there from XSET that's going to net them their 11th round win. And suddenly, this is looking like this could be an XSET map victory, as Immortals is really strapped for cash here, Doug.
You mentioned it going down to the wire. Immortals, as you said, broke. Here, a classic in the hands of JC Staney. He is going to use that Blade Storm. Gangsta's got a Sheriff. But XSET wise to that understanding, guys, there may be Buckies all around the map. Just kind of playing this one out slowly.
Yeah, and if the Point of contact is at mid. You'd be working into a blade storm from JC standing shot up, getting
That's
a little
big.
antsy, walking off of Cat, finds his doom there. Now it's just Rossi over here at A main.
Well, look at the response from Immortals, right? Like, check mid, see JC standing, cheat towards B. They're going to try to play retake, Rossi being the one exception, but then he got tagged up pretty badly by the dart, by the hot hands. He has to jump for his life, and he eventually drops. Now, JC Staney has arrived, and no heroics this time from him. The Blade Storm wasn't enough to get anything going as he drops at the hands of Aaron. Immortals with 2, Immortals with 1. Chemicals is alone. He's got the Bucky in a 1v4. I mean, I guess crazier things have happened, but what will Chemicals do?
Yeah, this is looking really scary for Immortals now, as actually a really crisp headshot. It's not quite done for him yet, but
What else does he have? He's not going to have enough for the defuse, but you maybe kind of stick him around long enough, and it's actually the turret out of Thwifel of all things that gets XSET to match point. This map has gone back and forth, highly contested between both of these squads, and XSET the first to 12.
yeah, give me the turret. Closing that last frag out there for Thwifel, but now as we are on map point here, Doug, this second half attack side of Ascent for XSET, which I characterized as being very underwhelming in the Envy series, coming in here now, they are firing on all cylinders. 1 and 2 have been outplaying Immortals seemingly every single time there's a gun round, so this will be a huge engagement. A shot up at B main senses this early B play.
Yeah, Flex, okay, so the Hunter's Fury coming out from BCJ to clear out the back of the site. Meanwhile, the lockdown was there as well, but Pure's Blade Storm's not going to connect. Engston takes care of him. Thwifel in, playing aggressively, trying to get more space. The shot up drops. XSET have taken control of the site. Now Immortals in a numbers disadvantage in a 3v4, trying to retake. As Thwifel gets a spike down. Aaron in a big spot here, and JC Staney understanding that. Aaron can really net this win. He can net the win, and he does it. He's already gotten 2. Chemicals responds, a 1v3. There's a decent idea of where Chemicals is. This is such a difficult spot. But Chemicals has to draw something up here. He's got to make some magic happen to keep the map alive. For Immortals, 38 health. He gets flashed up. Weeded takes care of him. A 13-10 win for XSET on Ascent.
Wall plants on A are what really comes to mind for me. But this is kind of the question about showers. Kind of threw me off, because I'm like, it depends on how they use the Sage. You know, we'll find her on defense over here at B now, but be interesting as we pay attention throughout this map, that same narrative of map control and how they use the Sage to kind of deny or take it. XSET sprinting up along B towards Octagon now. Grabbing the orb and pushing it to site. Here it goes.
Oh my gosh, they're full sending. Rossi's on the site. He's going to get mowed down. Yeah, Chemicals got one, but they should have entry onto the site. They have free access. You see the members of Immortals are starting to rotate over as Weeded gets the spike down. They just don't have a ton, and you see this fight for elbow control so pivotal in trying to take the site back. An excellent response from Thwifel. Weeded gets in on the action as well. Gangsta, the 1v2. Gangsta has a decent idea. One of the players is, no, oh my gosh! Gangsta, are you kidding me? What a snap!
Oh my god. Just deleting them both. He knows how sexy that looked on stream.
Good thing I was with you.
Amka,
Nah,
my word.
bro.
Just destroying
That was gross.
That was beautiful. What are you talking about? Oh, just a burst to the face and a one-tap finisher. You love to see it.
Oh, and freaking A, let's look at it one more time. And, you know, I mentioned the fight for elbow control.
Yeah.
And how important that is. Things look so good. And then 1, 2, left, right, good night. Gangsta sending them packing. That was pretty.
I wonder if there was a miscom there at elbow, because Aaron backed up, dropped the turret to play off of it after following that boom bot all the way up to the corner, okay? And at some point, you got to think he's probably on comms screaming, play off my turret, sees both teammates zoom past him for the fight, and they both die. He is able to trade them both out, but that really should have been a more comfortable post plant for XSET, okay? Yeah. And that's not to say that, you know, there was a 4-on-4 at that point, but, you know, throwing those first 2 kills away, it really, really, really is going to be, when you're watching the VOD review tomorrow and you're like, wow, that came down to a 1-on-2 and Gangs hit those nutty shots. But like, did it need to be that way? Doesn't matter.
Did we have to get there to begin with?
Yeah. I mean, the
That's
fact
very
is,
fair.
Gangsta just hitting some shots. That can't be helped. Well played to him.
Very well played indeed. You see, we're in a bit of a pause here. Potentially a technical pause. We'll get you any info that we can as soon as we possibly get it. And get back into the action. Meanwhile, Lux, I'd love your thoughts on this. So, seldom do you see an aggressive pistol push like that, right? Like, maybe you'll see it exposed to base short. Maybe you'll see it through hookah, which ultimately wasn't an option because Sage's wall was up, and from Rossi really being able to lock that area of the map down. But they didn't know that. They just full sent B long.
Yeah, I think that their goal, and I don't know if they had a specific read or an agent that they were trying to avoid altogether, but once you draw that first bit of utility out over towards A, you, in my mind at least, okay, if the Sage is here, she probably just dropped the barrier orb. Wall goes up. Head to the other site. They ran into Cypher and Sage. Okay, it didn't actually work out that way, but they sprinted into sight with such confidence that it almost seemed as though they didn't even expect heavy resistance, especially not from 2 Sentinels that had all their kit there. Interesting stuff.
Folks, again, we're in a bit of a pause. I believe Lex kicked one of the cables. It's always Lex.
My bad, man. My bad.
Who messes things up, but we'll get you guys into the action as soon as we can. It was a spicy pistol round. Things looked so good for XSET until Gangsta happened. Really is the best way to break that down. The Classic just proved to be too much. Now, Lex, with this in mind, I mentioned just a few moments ago how XSET really played with aggression in an area of the map on a pistol that you don't see super often. Do you expect that same level of aggression? Do you expect that fast pace that we haven't fully seen out of XSET a lot?
I don't know, man. And this is the first time this weekend that you and I are casting bind. We've stated that a few times. So for me personally, having not seen XSET or Immortals, at least in the past few days playing the map, I wonder whether or not, I did touch on this on pregame actually, was whether or not their game plan is going to call for stuff like that. Like, okay, we've got the read. This is how they're set up. We know how they're playing the situation. Let's go the other direction. And if the timing window is such that you think you've got 10 to 15 seconds before they're going to have their pieces back in the right places, then absolutely, you have to collapse. You have to play the teleporters if need be, and make those kind of action moves happen and do it decisively before you lose guys. But that seemed very much so like either a set piece plan or just an all out, like, you know what, we'll go up against the Cypher and the Sage, whatever, like we're just going to send it. So
now, well, we've talked about XSET and the aggression that they showed in the pistol, but one of the things we just very lightly touched on that I want to spend a bit more time talking about was the Rossi, right? On the Sage, walling off hookah right at the very beginning. And we've seen times where Sages will wall off an area of the map, much like we saw yesterday on Split, right? You wall off a main, don't let any entrance into sight, and then you can rotate away. You can go elsewhere, and that can be punished. But when you think about an IGL on the defensive side, right? Like, again, you've been there, Lex. You've called situations like this. How much comfort do you place in a wall going up in a situation like that in hookah to where you can kind of pull off? Do you full send everything away, or how do you go about that?
It all has to do with how much information you're able to inference around the map. So you can gauge numbers and kind of make those almost gamble assumptions, right? Okay, barrier orb goes up. You're not going to have somebody on the other side of that wall just staring, waiting for something to happen unless they expect you to be there, right? So it really depends on what information you're getting elsewhere on the map. And for sure, to some degree, we're talking about, gut check calls, right? Where, there might only be a 15% chance that they're going to exploit my greediness here. How much do I want to lead into the other side of the map? How much do I want to actually, kind of push my luck? And, good teams against good IGLs and smart players, it may not happen all the time, but you're eventually going to get burned. And it's oftentimes, I think, a measure of how much you can get away with. And if you are exploited and you are, you are playing up against a team who has a propensity or a capacity to kind of outsmart you or take those risks against you. It's all a matter of layers when it comes to the decision making of the players, right? Where, okay, well, I'm going to give them this and I'm going to take this away. So barrier orb goes up, but I've got a trap wire underneath hookah window or something, expecting that this is a possibility. Little things, the meta that constantly is shifting between players and teams, it really can kind of change with the wind in a match.
It can indeed. Good news, folks. Good guy Lexus plugged the cable back in. We are just a couple of moments from getting back into the action. Again, Immortals win the pistol off the heroics of Gangsta. He's going to bring a little more punch to this fight this round. Meanwhile, we see Rossi already set up in hookah. Got the wall teed up. I like this from Mead. With great caution, patiently waiting, and they're going to blast their way right through. The flash was there. They're trying to hunt Rossi down as he hightails it to safety. Manages to find his way into one of the smokes from Astra. He stays alive, and it's actually Weeded that drops.
Absolute madness to start. Shot up, collecting 2 with paint shells. JC standing with 2 of his own. Only 2 players fall. Gangston shot up due for the side of Immortals, and that's a decisive round win. But darn, that from the barrier orb getting placed, Doug, that was a, I mean, even with the slow orb down, that was a high action scene chase.
Yeah, man, and you know, we talked about, you know, it was, during the tech pause, we talked about, man, will we see that same level of aggression from XSET?
There it is.
Yep. Yeah, we saw it. We got it.
And it's
all right,
funny,
Immortals.
Though, that you're just talking about the barrier orb and the meta behind it. It's like, okay, he's going to put the wall down. Everybody get ready to shoot it. And there it is. It's instantly deleted. That's a little bit of a meta that I'm talking about right there.
XSET once again showing heavy presence down B long. A couple of flashes to clear things out. You can tell they're a bit timid in how they play this out. I don't know that they're fully committed to this, Lex. Nobody's toting the spike.
No.
You see Thwyfo still playing over by a short, ensuring nobody's playing aggressively there.
Yeah, this is, when you asked me about the showers control, this is what I meant, where you're going to take B long control or showers control early. Then you rely on the other team to get information back on whether or not you're still there. Gangsta throws that owl drone through Octagon area. XSET sends theirs into hookah, and the duel ensues with Rossi unaware that Pure is in his face.
And again, they still don't seem fully committed, right? Like, look at Aaron. He's still holding the spike. They're still trying to figure out where they want to go. But you can tell as the moments tick away, Thwyfo starting to rotate back towards B. They do want to try to hit the site. The trap wire was there. You see some of the smokes entering out as the fight for elbow could be pivotal. Shot up with the Bucky, making a ton of noise as XSET have gotten their way onto the site. Aaron should be able to get the spike down. Thwyfo drops. All right, here we go. Showstopper in the hands of shot up. He blasts his way onto the site. Good for 1, but it got traded out as Pure gets 3 on the round. Immortals, JC Standing, and Chemicals pick the rest of XSET apart to get the round win. And Lex, you start talking about finances, that hurts.
That's a tragic bonus round loss. Yeah. Not only are you going to hand away 2 Phantoms to the team, you know, at silver lining, say Pure and Weeded both just got their ultimates. Got Aaron 1 off. Like, there's little things that maybe you did right in that round that you could be glad for, okay? You scouted out that Gangsta sent his owl drone through long B, essentially. Didn't get any information off of it, so you're like, okay, let's collapse. I'll pinch hookah. They make a really good judgment call. They find the entry onto Rossi at hookah. They even get the spike planted, but shot up with 3. I think it was a Bucky frag, 2 Bucky frags maybe, and a showstopper, so Immortals with a really big retake on a bonus round where XSET now financially in shambles, as you said.
XSET once again leaning towards B around Fountain. I know you mentioned it. I thought it would be showers control, but again, it's actually B long that XSET is just not willing to give up. And with that, Rossi's just going to continue to wall off hookah, right, and kind of force them into a spot where they're going to draw out some of that utility. You see the slow orbs coming out, a couple of Astra Stars being used, but they're just going to pull off.
I mean, you think about it, Doug, they've got a composition that can't really contest long B. You have no flashers in your composition. XSET knows this, so at the beginning of every round, I expect them to go long B, but here it's short. JC Standing facing the brunt of a push. Thwyfo and BCJ fall, finding a third onto Pure, and he might be hunting the ace here as both players are just in front of him behind that smoke, and he knows at least one more frag is just meters away now.
Yeah, JC Stanley using that gravity well, and they were just sitting ducks, man. They couldn't move anywhere at all. A couple of big kills going his way, and you know, it is worth noting that XSET, I mean, they're going into rifles, and they certainly don't have rifles of their own. Aaron able to take care of JC Stanley, but again, you expect this to go in favor of Immortals, and I think at this point the conversation we need to be having is how much damage can be mitigated here, because again, you start to feel the financial impact of how the opening is gone in favor of Immortals. If you're XSET, you almost just take what you can get.
Yeah, any kills here will be great. It's already got his cabbages in order, so not really a huge matter of building the ultimate. See what you can get, though, like I said, and doesn't find anything for his troubles. 4-0 now, Immortals in firm control. But I don't think you're sweating yet if you're XSET, right? Like, you
No.
found pretty much have a read on what Immortals is doing, which is, you know, maybe showing some aggression at hookah, short A, but ultimately they've given long B just about every single time.
Right here.
Despite having the Sage slowers over there, it's not even bothering to contest it. So they are swapping things up now, and here's that showers control that you're looking for.
We did playing right around the gate early on. The flash is going to be there, tagged up 2. Potentially just 1. Either way, you see some of the flash come out. Not enough presence to get the ult orb, but again, enough to draw out some of that early utility.
Yeah, and I think that is a little bit of one of those underspoken of narratives. A lot of times when we're casting, we don't get to talk about it as much, but just that utility efficiency, what you can bait out from the other team and what you can maybe, you know, save and preserve on your own side to get it. Sometimes can spell a bigger story for the matchup now, as XSET have reset across the map, kind of rebounded back towards hookah and long B, but maintaining their showers control means, well, I'm not quite sure what they're doing yet, Doug.
Well, I will say this, and it just went down, but you see some adaptation from Immortals, even with how well things have gone on the B side of the map for them. You saw Rossi had that wall up on B long, right? Like, again, it just went down, but you see some of that adaptation, and for XSET, it may be a bit delayed, but it is a bit of rinse and repeat where they do want to go back that way. They are using BCJ's drone to maybe cause some noise, keep some attention over at B. You see the Sova starting to pull over as well, but the hit is on B. Cosmic Divide goes up. Pure. Oh my gosh, Pure, no, not able to land. Rossi was in his face as he wasn't able to do it, but We Did was. Pure looking to get the spike down. 10 seconds left. They're gonna have to move. We Did in a great spot. He gets punished after getting 1, and the spike hasn't been planted yet. Oh my gosh, shot up! Shot up with 3, delays it long enough to win the round for Immortals. What a play!
What? And he gets a 4th. Nice little consolation frag there. Again, if Shut Up comes on the interview and talks about how bad he's been playing, I'm gonna freak out. But, man, I will admit something to you here, Doug. The crisscrossing cosmic divides there at B, I had no idea where anyone was hugging the walls of those cosmic divides, but then we saw Shot Up just with nothing but daylight, 2 free frags in front of him. That was incredible to watch.
It was, and I mean, again, Weeded was in a great spot to really blow things up, but it falls apart. Rossi, again, we mentioned that adaptation. Yeah, give up hookah is exactly where XSET's headed now. Yeah, and it's hot, it's heavy, it's fast, and, well, that's really all it was. It didn't hit much harder than that. Rossi, good for 3. XSET's down to 2 members left. The spike is on the site. Yeah, but they're just nowhere near the spike.
I'm just saying, Shot Up. Oh, okay, he's gonna hop out. Never mind. Never mind. I thought maybe BCJ would get a free one, and this would suddenly be a 2v2, but not quite yet.
Oh, that might still be the case. Oh, that gives a bit away. Again, that wall is up. BCJ just kind of blasting through. It's actually Aaron. Nice, fancy footwork in and out of his smoke to get onto Shot Up, and all of a sudden this seems far more reasonable. But again, they still don't have the spike. You've got to be able to create some space for you to be able to get in there. The Hunter's Fury, as you mentioned, out of BCJ, not really doing enough to impede that aggression and that space that Immortals has taken. JC Stanley, good for 1. Aaron alone in a 1v2, and he's not around for long. Chemicals wins the gunfight. Immortals get to 6, and Lex, they're slapping XSET around here.
Yeah, that sucks. Watching that sucks, because you know XSET really was in a position to win that round. You know where Chemicals is. He's stuck behind the double stack. And we didn't see it from his teammates' POV, but I don't know how he's able to cross back into the tube without his teammates seeing him while that Hunter's Fury is going off. That should be the opening there for, whoever was over there at Long Beach. I think it might have been Fwifo, but to push in and earn that last frag, unfortunately, it didn't happen. So you lose the Hunter's Fury, you lose the round, you lose the weapons, and they are able to buy back into this one, but despite the fact that that was a low bot round for them, one round that maybe they shouldn't have won in the first place, Doug, it was close enough to where you really wish you had converted there, considering it's 6-0 now. Immortals in a dominant lead on Bind. And this attacker killjoy out of Hook is the first thing to start this round.
Yeah, but Lex, look at the gap, right? They can still play in pipes. They can still play safely from there and not really have to forego a ton of space. Right, and the other problem is, as soon as they shoot the wall out, you saw them rotate over to B because they know that's where the hit's gonna go. The spike is just now making it onto the site. Aaron should be able to get it down, but Rossi has already come up with a couple of really big kills. Fight for pipes control continuing. Weeded playing just around elbow. The res is gonna come up. But again, you see Weeded and Thwifo both playing entries out of that area into B, where there's really no easy way in. Shot up with the showstopper. Good for one. Gangsta as well. Thwifo looking to play some heroics, good for one, but again, he's got to check everything so quickly, and Shadow's just toying with him. It's actually Chemicals who deals the last blow, and they're going to get the defuse, and that was a rifle round for XSET. Lex, you start to wonder at this point, at what point are you scared? If you're XSET?
As an individual player, I don't think you're necessarily scared, but if you're an IGL or you're the coach, and you're thinking, okay, maybe we had a game plan coming into this map, this was our map pick, we've been blanked 8 rounds into this match, and I don't have an answer. Like that is, you start to wonder. Okay, we've even got a pretty good read on what Immortals is doing against us, right? You got the Sova Sage at B. The Cypher sometimes is flexing towards the other side of the map, but generally speaking, right? Like you're getting the map control you want. You've taken showers, you've taken Long B, you've taken hookah, but not being able to close out these rounds, not being able to survive the post plant and dominate any of your gunfights. It just seems as though you're constantly on the back foot when you should be succeeding. I don't even know that this is a strategic blunder out of XSET. They're just not winning the rounds. A lot of that has to do with how well guys like Shot Up are playing for Immortals.
Yeah, he's having himself a map. Feel the pressure towards A, and Shot Up again, running at them, right? And he still manages to get one. On to Weeded with the paint shells. You hear the Seekers come out. Chemicals holding fast. Able to get a couple of kills already, but somehow through that chaos, it's Aaron and BCJ who remain alive. The Cosmic Divide is still in tow as well. They both drop as soon as I say that. Immortals get to 8. It was a weird mixed buy. You heard a Guardian fire off a couple of times. But the truth is, Lex, nothing is working for XSET right now.
No, and the difference between this map and Ascent in the map prior is they were also down throughout a good portion of the first half against Immortals. They squeaked out a couple rounds, right? It was like 6-2 at one point. They definitely were not as down and out as it feels right now, being 0-8 against Immortals, who, there are no weaknesses that you could just turn around and say are, XSET's missing out on. They've exploited all of them. They've even found the space. They found the daylight. They've gotten the plants out. And yet, I mean, this is it right here, right? Like, just call it hard luck, call it unfortunate, whatever. Even though you're on pistols, this is very much so a round where you want to be competitive in it, and Immortals is just shutting the door. Okay, here we go.
Well, spoke a bit too soon. We did share of taking care of Shot Up. But again, the numbers advantage still in favor of Immortals, and it seems to be going from bad to worse. They have the gun advantage as well. JC Standy looking for Weeded. He's going to take care of him. BCJ, the last remaining member of the side of XSET. And again, with Sheriffs in mind, you don't really expect that to go their way. But the problem is, Lex, if you're XSET, you're running out of windows here, right? Like, you're running out of time.
Yeah, and even if, like, 1 or 2 of these rounds that had come down to, like, 2v2s, I think maybe 1v1 in this game, or even the pistol, Doug. You go back to pistol when Gangsta really stole that round away from XSET with some sick shots. Well, this being a 6-3 half rather than a 9-0 half is going to make all the difference in the world as this goes down further to the wire, where you know, a 10-2 half, maybe the best that they can hope for. Well, only got a few rounds left to make that happen. So, as you mentioned, really dire straits here for XSET. You're with the showstopper. BCJ with an opening frag. He wants that one. Take a slow start in this map so far. 5v4. This is the best start I think XSET has had all game.
They have a different wall placement out of Rossi, not letting anyone push their way in from wall. You hear the Cosmic Divide is going to come out in conjunction with BCJ's Hunter's Fury. Good for 2! Wow. As BCJ already gets onto 3, and they use that Q to flip the map.
He's standing getting burned out of that corner, but...
Oh, wow.
There's been so many frags through smokes in this game. The Sova diff, man. One round to the next. Somebody's getting scanned somewhere.
Yep.
BCJ with 3 frags in this round, Gangsta with 3 in the prior round. It just seems as though these rounds that have been so close, we finally have one where XSET not only is going to win it, but do so decisively.
And, you know, really, Lex, with how this half is gone, that feels, it's just one round, but that's an important one, right? Like, get the monkey off your back, and it wasn't just a round win that was a super close 1v1 that easily could have gone either way. You mentioned it was a decisive win. What does that do for morale?
I think it's huge, especially when you see guys like BCJ, who in the very last map had a very similar scoreline, was like 1-9 at one point in both these games. You know, picking up a 3-piece, entries, all of them, right? Like, that kind of stuff, not only are you going to net a round win from it, but suddenly you're more talkative. Suddenly you've got high spirits in you know, your VOIP. You're having fun maybe a little bit for the very first time in 10 rounds.
Yep.
Awesome start for XSET to maybe be able to bring some of the life back into this half.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, as I say that, Immortals is playing 3 over here now.
Yeah, I mean, they've had 3 at A most of the time, but it's gone so well. And a question whether or not they needed to. But now, as you mentioned, they do have more reinforcements this side of things. And much like we've seen in previous rounds for XSET, it's looking to exploit B long. And exploit can look like a couple of different things, right? It can be they get entry into B and they get to spike down. It can also just be pulling out some of the utility that we've mentioned out of Immortals and then reassessing how they choose to play this without investing a ton of their own.
Recalling my boss.
This may be... All right, for a moment, I thought they would cut noise and then stay. But it looks like they are going to rotate off, but they're doing so very quietly. The thing is, that should tell them a good bit, right? The Cosmic Divide's going to come out. So is the Showstopper from Pure as he works his way onto the site. U-Haul not checked. All right. Well, so they get info to understand where he is, and I love that wraparound, right? Going around the APC to take back U-Haul control and get the kill that they needed. The spike goes down. Aussie playing around the lockdown. Here we go, shot up. Good on the flight, but he's going to blast across. He's going to take care of Aaron as well. Cabbage is in his face, but it doesn't matter as he lands the kill. BCJ looking to get some action as well, and he's going to drop. Gangsta's going to get the defuse. It looked good for XSET for a moment, but Immortals get another round.
Yeah, I mean, Thwifo comes in with 2 big entries. You pop the Showstopper. It really seems like XSET's about to get their second round of the half, and instead, Fuse comes through. Immortals, the lockdown when it came to retaking that U-Haul lamps area. Got up. Feet had barely hit the floor, and he's finding that second frag onto Aaron. That is tough for XSET, who, you know, when it comes to hunting the good stuff and keeping a positive attitude, have definitely shown us that, you know, they're not out of this yet, especially claiming that round prior. But despite something finally going right for them, in a very fruitful beginning of that last round, there is nothing but darkness before them as Immortals was able to retake that cleanly.
See some of the flashes coming out as it, I believe for the first time They're really aggressively looking to exploit A short this time around. But again, an excellent response from Gangsta. He's going to use the Hunter's Fury. Shotup's going to use his Showstopper as well to stuff any push coming that way. Right, and to get the res onto JC Stanny, ECJ. Wow. Dead man walking at that point. They threw something different at him, Lex, right? Like they spiced it up, and Immortals handled it the same way.
Yeah, they've done it a couple times where they just kind of walk up short and they hold, which is what I was really expecting them to just kind of chill for a second there before they made contact. And then before I know it, you know, we're all just sitting here talking about the round prior. You see Gangsta kind of cheating over through defender spawn, and then all of the sudden, all hell breaks loose. Hunter's Fury disrupts the entire push. Chemicals chiming in with a few frags. Just beautiful play, beautiful defense from Immortals. An 11-1 dominant half against XSET, who really seemed like they were confident coming into this match too.
Immortals understanding how much they could give, right? Like without losing full control. Again, they're willing to toe the line of what's safe. Look at discretion out of XSET down B long though. Again, much like we saw in the first half, they want to play around this area of the map. They full send 3. The hog or the flash comes out, excuse me. And Immortals wisely understanding, fine, if you're going to push that up, we're just going to go straight into A short. There are a couple of players here. There's a good bit of utility here. The wall's going to go up, and this is trademark Sage on buy.
Yeah, Twyfo really needs to somehow find life. Finds one. Unfortunately, actually, Pure does find another one, so 2-on-3, the retake will be tough here for Immortals. Or sorry, for XSET.
It will, and you know, at that point, given where the wall is, you're comfortable giving up Shower's control. You have to hang on to U-Haul, and that's exactly where XSET are headed.
The shorty.
Yep. The shorty, the classic out of Rossi. The deficit was so great in the first half. You lose the pistol, and I mean, you almost lose the map, right? Like Immortals already at 12.
I'm not doing that,
it's just
Doug.
not good.
I'm not doing that. Oh, well, maybe they can come back. Never lose faith. This is 12-1. Okay, start thinking about your game plan for the next map, XSET. Okay, gonna burn out trying to come back in this half. But I think there is something to be said for, like, you know, like, sure, if you won 7 straight, we can start talking about a comeback. But just having your mental right for the next map. Like, okay, you're bummed. Something didn't work. You're almost getting embarrassed at this point at 12-1. But, like, hey, reality check. Series ain't over. About to be equalized at 1. Like, reset the mental.
Right.
And like I said, just start thinking about, okay, I'm going to do my job here on whatever's left of mine. But, you know, I'm not going to pin my hopes and dreams and my heart on whether or not we can make this a respectable scoreline.
Even respectable seems very much out of reach. As Immortals on the attack, playing this one nice and slow. Lipo's gonna get one, but then kind of has to back up. Shock darts, bullets, everything flying his way. They've thrown that and the kitchen sink at him as Twyfo drops. Looks like they're gonna get onto A. And Pure was in a good spot, at least good enough of a spot to get one and delay things a bit, but it's not enough to stop things entirely. The wall's gonna go up out of Rossi. The spike is gonna go down. XSET looking to retake from pipes. Again, understanding that U-Haul is a place where things have to go down. And they do go down. In favor of Immortals, Aaron, the last man standing. You mentioned at this point, if you just kind of... Yikes. While Immortals prioritizes the duelist role more.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just a little less opinionated when it comes to this stuff than... Okay, early action over at A main as the orb does get contested. XSET. I don't know how much they got as far as a read on Immortals goes, but Immortals immediately retreating back towards B with all 5 players. Sure to set up and execute here in a moment.
Wall went up across the middle of the map. Impeding any pressure that way. The wall, this wall's gonna go up. The flash follows as Chemicals dashes his way onto the site. He's gotten into the back. I believe that's Twyfo. Yeah, Twyfo just on the other side of the wall in a pretty precarious spot, having to shoot the Roomba out. Meanwhile, we did. Good for one. Pure has arrived to the party. Oh, this is such a good spot. This is such a good spot. Kira is able to take one out. Gangsta trades it out, and then they push through the wall. They get the kills that they need, and they win the pistol.
Wow, and it really starts with Weeded getting that long-range ghost tap onto the face of somebody. I don't know who it was, but that retake was so clean. Aaron even pressing forward there around pillar to get that lateral damage out. Wifo buying a whole lot of time, making sure players can advance up into that held position. And XSET attacking as a unit. This is what we needed to start this map 3, Doug.
Yep.
It's a pistol round win, a feel-good victory for XSET after a really horrendous last 40 minutes.
Right, we'll see how they choose to play this out. So they're bringing a couple of Spectres. Twyfo's going to have the judge. Meanwhile, Immortals opting not to force, while opting to go hot and heavy towards A. You imagine this one very well may be quick. Chemicals jump, dash across, and somehow finally drops. Rossi trades him out, however, is now BCJ. Is one of the lines of defense. It looks like they might try to exploit ramps. What will XSET do with this?
I think they know BCJ's stuck over here. Fear's going to have to bail him out as best he can. He does. BCJ only on a frenzy this round, opting to pick up 3 flash points instead of an investment into an SMG. Going to value his kit throughout the duration of this game, I'm sure, so building an early bank for him. That's an excellent an anti-thrifty for XSET in terms of just their ability to handle that situation. Really think like right here, the flash and dash is something we're going to see out of Immortals the entire time through this game with the Jet. Fact is, XSET started here with 3 players for a reason, expecting this kind of aggression. There's only so many places that you can abuse that tailwind with a flashpoint. Actually gain a lot of map control, and A ramps being one of them. Maintaining the frenzy, a couple SMGs. Just basically keep the same buy from last round here as XSET on the bonus.
It'll be interesting to see how they play around Garage. I was actually just about to mention that. You see the fault line just enough to make them think about it, right? And we saw this yesterday. You hit that a lot. You hit that fault line. You go, well, we can push through. Like, they can push through that. We have to respect that, right? So you'll see some of the mind games play out where you condition a team to expect a certain thing, and then just when they're not thinking about it, when they expect something else, that's when you pull the rope on them, and that's when you push through. Wifo here with the judge. We mentioned it as, oh no, he's gonna get smoked out. Yep. Nope. That doesn't feel good. Oof. Rossi wise to it. Takes care of Wifo. Now they're gonna really push away into showers. You have a couple of members on the side of XSET playing towards A. He did with the Bucky. The judge was no good. Can the Bucky deliver more? Yes, it can. Good for 1. Chemicals trades it out as they dash their way onto A. But, oh my gosh, Ramps was left unchecked. Aaron's going to work his way in. Yeah, he's good for 1, and he steps back. I love that. Shot up, taking care of Pure. Oh, shot up good for another one as well. The blast pack up.
Oh my gosh.
An excellent response from Immortals.
Oh my gosh. Just shot up full confidence there. Yeah, that little bit of a ramp lurk almost set them up for a nice retake. XSET gonna fall on the bonus though. Considering, had that aftershock not gone straight to the brain of Wifo earlier on in that round, that would have been a 4-on-3 retake scenario. It really could have been doable at that point, but unfortunately, not the biggest deal in the world. You're moving to the rifle round here for XSET.
There we see the fault line out, as we mentioned, but this time slower coming through to really impede any aggression.
I feel like we're going to see, kind of like you're highlighting, Doug, this duel over here at B main throughout the entirety of the game.
Yeah. And I think another thing to keep in mind, or to keep an eye on, is where does where does Weeded place the wall at the beginning of the round? We've seen it mid a couple of times. So if you know that they're not pushing in through B garage because of the aggression that you're placing that way, and you've got the wall of 2, it kind of limits some of the options that they have, right? They can just go ahead and shoot through it or wait it out, but oftentimes you're going to funnel them elsewhere on the site, and in this instance, it's going to be right into all of the utility that Wifo has set up.
It almost seems like it's a bait, though. Yeah, we did immediately challenge back here at mid. They had Breach ready with the flashpoints to essentially, you know, okay, they're going to spray down the wall. They're going to think we're empty at mid and rotate it elsewhere. It doesn't even matter. We just takes the raw duel and wins it. 5v4 now, but it doesn't matter. Immortals undeterred has taken ropes. Boys to split through a heaven.
Yeah, no question about it, right? They're blasting all the way in, but there's some of the utility again from Breach, from Killjoy, that just delays them long enough, right? And with 15 seconds left, you're going to have to do something very quickly, as Twyfell's still looking to continue to anchor onto the back of the site. Good to take care of JC Staney as he continues to cause havoc. Meanwhile, Aaron comes in from the side, sucker punches him. A flawless round for XSET.
Yeah, well done from XSET to recover there. There was a bit of a opportunity, it seemed like, for Immortals to really drive the wedge over at A Heaven. The rotates were very far over at B. Aaron was on an island at screens with a teammate on site. Twyfell. Even Twyfell just made a misstep, and I think he shot the air at one point. Could have gone the other way. But with as much time that was on the clock, I think it was like 20 seconds left as they were coming out of Heaven, Doug. Immortals was off kilter and certainly falling headfirst into an A site that was going to be denied from them. So forced onto pistols now. The first time in a while we could say XSET control this half right now.
I would absolutely have to agree. And once again, we see this battle across Garage. Spike is not in tow right now, so they haven't fully committed onto anything. There's a good bit of utility that's cleared out from Shot Up in the space he's been able to take up into Mail. You read the writing on the wall and you imagine this is a hit that will go towards B. And look at how far up Shot Up is. Right? Like, and he's able to get a kill onto that. That's high impact, looking for a second, and he gets it. Shot Up continuing to cause problems. Aaron snuffs that out. But the spike was nowhere near the site at all. Lex, in that play, like, their intentions were very clear. Immortals was just going to fight their way onto the site and get the kills they needed.
Yeah, and it almost worked out. Shot Up, obviously having a tightrope act up there on the balcony of B Heaven, but you know, he finds that first one at Twyfell, he grabs the second one at BCJ. You think at that point, you know, if that had been for free and unexchanged frags, those would have been hugely impactful. Instead, like you said, Immortals just kind of getting run over on the retake. Aaron flying in, finding two. Now it's 4-1. A lot of rounds left here to play, so we're just getting started here on Split.
But look at the read. Right, they both read each other at the same time. There was no fault line out of BCJ in the Garage. There was nobody there, but they were on the other side, and they both played that so well. We did good for another one. He's going to bring back BCJ. They understand where that kill's coming from. Not able to get another one. Immortals responds with strength of their own as JC Staney and Gangster are able to get a couple.
Wow, I hope they still win this round, Doug, because that may have been the worst res of the year, if not. And the best Gangsta in the same round.
Maybe not the best, but certainly better than the previous one. XSET pushes forward. BCJ good for two. Twyfell comes up huge for XSET. And really, Lex, from the very beginning, that round could have easily gone either way. Like, the fact they both read each other, nobody was behind.
Yeah, you had a 4-stack on A, as you pointed out, Doug. And all of Immortals is there, ready to execute onto A. So you know it's going to be an absolute brawl. But it really seemed like XSET won that round straight up on a 4v2, you know. I think I did already bring it up, but I'm going to say it one more time. May have failed that res a little bit, okay? Putting his team into a 5v2 was not a priority, number one. And then two, he failed to bait it properly, so they both died. Really, that could have gone the way of Immortals, which probably should have happened. Nevertheless, another AXE coming through, and Twyfell immediately pressured, but he finds the first on the Chemicals, and now it's a 5-on-4.
Yeah, I believe Chemicals had a Bucky who wasn't going to deal enough damage in that moment, as we did very comfortable giving up the site, as is the rest of XSET, understanding that if they can keep control of Heaven, they're just fine. Rolling Thunder's going to come out. Twyfell in that moment pushes in. A Shot Up gets two with the showstopper. Looking for a third. Yep. Gets it. Drops. Twyfell with 3 of his own, as Rossi's going to fall as well. Twyfell with 4 on the round, and while it seemed like nothing was going in favor of XSET on Bind, Lex, it seems like everything is falling their way on Split.
Now the turntables. 6-1 now, XSET. Yeah, looking like they are just ready to run away with this half. Wifo coming out with another huge round in this game. And, I mean, we just look at the scoreboard now. Aaron, we did, Wifo, those are not just feel-good frags. These are impactful, and oftentimes these guys at the end of these rounds are collecting multiple frags on the retake, and that's a shade of XSET that maybe we were, buying definitely. We didn't get to see it because they basically didn't get to play a single defensive side, but we haven't seen since Descent for obvious reasons, and it's such a nice, refreshing take to see, okay, we got ourselves a series. And this last map is certainly going to be to watch as Immortals struggling to find a footing here.
Yeah, again, it's been a lot of the early moves from XSET that have been so difficult for them to work around. Weeded gets the wall up. BCJ with the fault line into garage to impede any of that early aggression, and then look at all of the Astra Stars that are just littered across the middle of the map. XSET have just played this defensive half, and obviously, right? Like, you can look at the score and you can tell that, but I don't think that tells the whole story. I don't think that accurately highlights how dominant XSET has been on this defensive half.
Yeah, Immortals definitely looks like they're grasping in a lot of these rounds. I think the biggest part for me, Doug, is XSET is not giving away any picks. No. Oh, here we go.
Good rolling thunder and the cosmic divide, but my gosh, BCJ, they just walk into his lap and he mows him down. It's open season on Immortals players there for BCJ as he gets 3. JC Stanny, good for 1 onto Dwifo, but that might be all he's good for. And Lex, like, the setup was there, right?
Yeah.
The cosmic divide comes out, the rolling thunder follows, and then BCJ happened.
Well, I think this is maybe something that would be better suited for like a podcast VOD review type deal, but the breach positioning of BCJ has been stellar in this half.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes that's like a pre-round setup where he's playing with 2 teammates to support, and it just happens to be in the right place at the right time. But I also think his rotations, generally speaking, have been not just to the correct site and the correct area of attack, but right there's a perfect example of using his own utility to set himself up. All right, like, certainly his teammates that are getting rolling thundered on the right side of pillar, as Immortals is coming out, they're thinking, okay, let's press forward and get these kills. Right, like, you know at least one of them got hit. Heard a lot of different spam coming through from that area, so a lot of free real estate, seemed like. And instead, BCJ just kind of dropping the flashpoint in the corner, swinging on the edge of pillar, finding 3. That is, not even Immortals was ready for that.
No.
Well,
right, and that's so
not Immortals.
Yeah, obviously the case. And look, when you want to hit something hard and fast like that, that can be so devastating. Immortals now on the attack, bit of a different look, right? Like well, and that's already paying off as Shot Up gets the best of Pure.
I may have spoken too soon on the I haven't seen XSET getting picked comment because, well, first 5-on-4 we've seen in a minute from Immortals.
Cosmic Divide coming out. Spike is still down, and I think a lot of this is just like wait things out, right? Like, you don't have to fully commit to anything. Weeded's wall up Weeded's wall is up across the middle of the map, but I like what we're seeing out of Chemicals here, just like patiently waiting, ensuring nobody's pushing his way through. They may be able to get onto the site pretty well. Yeah, the flashes are coming through, but Dwifo looking to stand strong yet again. 2, 3, 4. Dwifo with the ace, baby! Are you kidding me?
What? Dude. Dwifo just avoiding every piece of breach utility, dances around the pillar and finds 5. Doug. What a play.
I mean, dang, bro. Like, look at that. That's just... Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. Very good chance that's the aim lab flick of the day. Anyway, XSET, much like I mentioned earlier, everything going their way. The wall's up across the middle of the map. No fault line in the garage this time. We didn't see it in the last round as well. So you're seeing some of that adjustment probably. Well,
I mean, the
yeah.
fault line doesn't come through. BCJ's over at A, sending his zone through there. You get the information, and now they're ready to defend mid from ropes. So that'll be the interesting thing to watch here.
Yeah, and I think what I was going to say was for Immortals, they're just looking to try something different, right? But there's just no place that's safe. Pure is already good for 2. BCJ looking to pile it on as he's just full sending with this flash, able to get one. They also understand where the spike is. He unfortunately falls. But XSET still have the numbers advantage.
Maybe a little bit of a fluke. Yeah, I mean, that's the threat that we haven't really seen throughout this game yet is, you know, sometimes with Sky, sometimes with Breach, but not really knowing where the Breach is on a map is so scary, especially when you don't necessarily know if they have ropes. And right there, Pure getting flashed out, and then flashing for himself, BCJ collecting 3 total. But, like I said, maybe a little bit of a fluke as he gets caught out by JC Stanny, and now Immortals, who really could use a round like this. Like an odd man, just kind of contact, win a gunfight, trade it out, and clutch it up. That'd be huge, Doug, because 8-1, if you slide to 9 here, 10 seconds left, this is tough.
10 seconds left.
Wi-Fi, they don't know he's there, right? The smokes went up, the wall was there as well. As he's playing around the pillar, the footsteps come through, and Wi-Fi drops. It didn't matter if they knew he was there or not, smoke or not, he drops. And now, Immortals can set up this really pretty high-low on this corner that the truth is XSET has to check, right? Like, they have to push into, they have to clear that out. Can't afford not to. JC Stanny swings. Pure does as well. Gangsta, Pure in a 1v1, and Pure wins that one as well. A 4K for him. Lex, nothing is going wrong for XSET right now.
No, this is whatever gaming god that they Immortals had on their side for Bind has now switched over to XSET because every little detail is going in their favor, even when seemingly Immortals has capitalized on a weakness somewhere. You know, that little bit of greed from Thwaifa to creep the plant box altogether was a mistake, maybe, but cleaning it back up, Pure, who has just been so confident today. Him and Thwaifa are definitely the MVPs of this XSET roster so far, you know, at least today and throughout the series for sure. And right there is why, is late in a round when you need it most, your teammate delivers. That's Pure with the 4-piece in the clutch. And you know, kind of to finish what we were just talking about, Doug, with Immortals, man, just nothing seems to be going right. And I'm not really sure what they can do differently.
Yeah, it's a tricky spot, really, because they've shown a couple of different looks, and they've really not been able to net any progress. Now, this is a slightly different look from XSET as you see aggression through Garage. Again, off the backs of BCJ's utility. But Immortals feeling some of that pressure, they're just going to take the middle of the map and try to exploit Nail up in B Heaven, but it's going to be so much easier said than done. The lockdown coming out, and they totally misread that.
Gunfight upstairs is so sketch.
Shot up already good for 2. Oh man, Pure Showstopper gets a couple of his own. The res is going to come up. Wi-Fi alone in a 1v3. He's not around for long. Immortals play that really well, and XSET, they kind of seemed a little lost in the sauce for a good bit of that round as Immortals get to the second.
Yo, I mean, a couple things. Obviously, Immortals winning that round is huge.
Yes.
But they also just found, you know, a weakness that they've already found once in this game, but they haven't come back to it, and that's that B Heaven split. Yep. Where a couple times we've seen Shot Up literally walk out onto the balcony and pick up a double. Well, there he is doing it again. This time he's got teammates to support and utility in the right places to make that execute a reality. And now, you know, that was by no, even though there was 3 players alive at the end after the res, didn't exactly seem like a decisive round win, but I wonder whether or not in this last round here they're going to go back to it.
Right, and look, I think you even start to think about what you were just saying, Lex, and Edid had been putting his wall up across the middle of the map for the vast majority of this half. But look at the adaptation already, understanding they can't just rely on the wall. They need to invest a bit more as far as personnel goes to avoid this area from being exploited.
Yeah, and the Breach is here, Sage Slows are here, Raze is here. Like, they're 3 of the most important defensive kits on the map are all ready to go if they try and play that B Heaven split again. Instead, they get snubbed. Immortals has to regroup back towards A now.
All right, so an excellent response from XSET, understanding where their weakness was. They'd been hit there a couple of times and it didn't feel good. they weren't going to be had a third time. You see the Cosmic Divide is going to be coming out. It looks like they want to hit A. The thing is, Aaron is anchoring A. Right, the Wifo's there. He's going to be there for some help as well. But so far, Aaron's so good. Hasn't been spotted. Not even able to get a kill. Right, his Wifo was good for one, but he eventually drops as well. It's going to be on the remaining members of XSET on the rotate to retake.
Yeah, 20 seconds left. I imagine they're going to come through the divide. Yep. Try and use that few seconds where they know it's just a 2-on-3 as the planner drops that spike on site. Oh, they see Stanny at main has other plans, silencing Weeded, who came through screens, grabbing a second on a Pure with a classic. And now it's just BCJ in a 1v3. Two opponents are a little weakened, so he finds the first onto the healthy JC Stanny. Rolling thunder ensues. The chemical swings and silences any sort of effort. The 1v2 for BCJ.
Man, and that looked like that could have easily gone the other way, right? If not for Chemical sidestepping the Rolling Thunder, BCJ continues to wreak havoc. He continues to press onto the site and potentially gets that diffuse in that 1v2. But again, Chemicals goes up big there to land that last kill onto BCJ. And honestly, it's not just that. The fact that, what was the score, 9-1 at one point?
Yeah, 9-1.
Yeah, for it to end at 9-3 is obviously still doesn't feel great, but you need those. You need just take what you can get, right? A round at a time. That's the only way you're going to chip back at this deficit.
Absolutely. Win pistol, one round at a time. And eventually, like, this is much more comfortable feeling. I mean, it's not just that it's 9-3. It's that you won the last 2 rounds of the half, right? So carry that momentum with you. Do what you can to take this pistol round if possible. And obviously, if you're on XSET, this is absolutely your map to win, the series to win. It's all in your court right now. It just has to do with I'm sure everyone's on the same page, ready to start an attack half where, like, we haven't necessarily seen them play poorly on attack all day today, Doug. Especially when we're talking about a series against Envy. It's not as though that's an easy attack half ever, but you do, at least I'm going to wonder, you know, if you're XSET, is there anything that you can exploit on the side of Immortals? Obviously, you've got a Jet here. But without, like, just kind of us theory crafting too much, I'm just openly speculating. Like, I wonder what they're going to try and press their advantage against them. It'll be interesting to see.
It looks like they're going to want to press their advantage across the middle of the map. You see a stat coming in from Sewers and from Ramen. BCJ with the early fault line. The smokes are out as well. I mean, it's not like they're necessarily being quiet about it. But as soon as they get through into vents, they cut noise. Shot up. Wise to it, man. He's going to get a chance at something special here. But when you've got a couple of players on the other side, he didn't even really know. It was just Pure he saw. But at that point, you have every idea of where the play's going. Good flash. Chemicals drops. Frosty looking for another one. He managed to flash both, but wasn't able to connect on anything with the classic. Pure is going to get the spike down. Ganks in. JC Stanny. The wall goes down. Now it's going to give him a bit of room to work with, but a 2v5 where they're all huddled onto the site. Make that a 1v5. You know where you are, too. It's just almost a foregone conclusion here.
That'll do it. 10-3 now. XSET looking so good on this series now, Doug. And, you know, coming into this map, I spoke myself a little bit about, you know, question mark for me was, is XSET going to mentally reset? Are they going to have confidence, the same confidence they did in map 1? You know, coming into split, well, having such a comfortable half, 9-3, winning the pistol here, I can't imagine a world in which XSET ever is going to doubt their ability or capacity to win this map and the series.
Yeah, I was curious to see how Immortals would play this. They're bringing 4 Buckies into the fold, so they certainly they're looking for a spark. They're looking for something to get momentum going back their way. Meanwhile, Spectres everywhere for XSET. They drew out some of that utility. They invested a bit of their own into B, into Garage, but that's really it. Nothing really doing either which way.
Yeah, across any of the games that we've casted together so far this weekend, Doug, I don't think I've seen a single Bucky buy round win. Which I may be factually incorrect there. I may have missed around at some point, but I think it's just strange that despite the fact that the Bucky has the reputation that it does, you
For
know,
good reason.
at this level anyway, I just am saying, like, at this level, these teams have adapted pretty darn well with how to manage these rounds.
Well, you say
See
that.
now whether I just jinxed it.
Right. You say that. Shot up. Looking to make you eat your words, and nope, not even one. Fancy footwork there from Pure. The flash was there as well. He's able to land the shots, and he blast packs his way up into heaven to apply that pressure. BCJ looking to get the spike down. As XSET look to put Immortals away. Pure good for one as well. He's eventually going to drop, but Dwifo.
Uh-oh.
Dwifo not able to land it. He got messed up. Just down to 3 health left. He's going to have to back off. Chemicals was trying to lurk his way around. Dwifo welcomed him gladly. Now, on the site, the wall's up. Rossi not easily able to get his way in. Maybe deal some damage from over the wall. That looks like that's all he's going to be able to get for now. Spots ahead of we did. A couple of haircuts. But nothing connecting yet.
Last player
And that,
standing.
I mean, that might be, yeah. Well, I was going to say it might be just enough bait for Chemicals to get into an advantageous position, but it doesn't pan out. BCJ takes care of him to get the round win for XSET, and my goodness, night and day, Lex. Absolute flip from what we saw on the previous map.
Man, like this is honestly, I'm a little surprised that it's this lopsided. I definitely didn't expect it to flip so drastically in the other direction, especially considering just how good Immortals looked as individuals. It really seems as though XSET is just playing so well together, and I didn't mean to try and jinx them there, but even just handling that anti-eco in the round prior was impressive to watch. A shot up opens it up now onto Thwifo, first one of the round here, and it makes them quickly reconsider their A advance.
Yeah, that gravity well, Thwifo was just sitting there. He had no choice, just out and exposed. And that kill comes through, and as you said, they're going to reconsider how they choose to play things. They want to go up the middle of the map and actually return right back to where they came from, potentially looking to clear out some utility and vents.
It was just a sound fake to draw the rotate. You see Chemicals flying to A now. Yeah, flying to A. He's coming back, but straight out the B site. It's now theirs.
Ooh. Chemicals managing to dash to safety. The wall was there, but it looks like XSET have managed to get onto the site anyway. The spike is going to go down. And they can't, I mean, they're going to have to shoot through the wall to get back into heaven. And you can't really go in from defender spawn because that's not necessarily safe either, understanding there may be a crossfire. How do Immortals get back into this thing? How do they get into the site? It looks like they're going to opt to take heaven control. As the spike continues to tick away. Shot up. Creeping his way around. Spots one. Shot up looking for a second. Knows we did Impure that leave Gangsta alone. And he's not going to be able to deliver it either. I mean, except for them to find themselves at match point, at series point, and on the cusp, the precipice of eliminating Immortals at this point, given what we saw on the previous map, is just so dang impressive.
It's so much fun to watch. I mean, this is why, you know, I personally do, but others as well speak so highly of XSET and the capabilities of this roster. I mean, 12-3 on attack side split now. And, you know, at no point in this series do I think they've been a decisively just like they look better than Immortals. Like even on Ascent, looked pretty even to me. But here, you know, Bind really didn't even do that for me either in Immortals' favor, but you got to be impressed now with how they've recovered.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. To watch.
XSET teeing up something towards B. That's already one kill coming through as Pure drops. Maybe a bit too froggy.
I think they were going for that early fight, using the flashpoint to create a little bit of space, and
Maybe
that orb is still there for the Rolling Thunder. I was wondering if BCJ was going to grab it. He did not. There it is. From we did.
Oh, but it's going into beat it. To bring Pure back. Chemicals with the Bucky, though, just jumping over the wall and raining fire down upon their members of XSET who were just on the other side. Somehow through that, XSET still walk away with 3 remaining. BCJ got the Rolling Thunder, but he's dead. So that's not going to be a factor this time around. Pure does have the showstopper as XSET, I think twice, about how they want to play this. They rotate out, looking for the middle of the map, and now we see the mid-round calls. Whether or not they're able to find something to exploit that there. They're wanting to go towards heaven. An excellent crossfire, but we didn't pure snuff it out. Shot up in Chemicals alone. Chemicals once again with the Bucky. He's eventually going to drop. Shot up. Fighting to keep his team alive. To keep his team in the tournament. In a 1v2, Weeded gets a spike down. And things come to a screeching halt. Shot up, spotting one. They understand where he is now, and that's so much information gathered for XSET. And you still have Astra utility shot up. I like that. Playing out the fake. Not blasting all the way through. The gravity well not going to connect. He did wise to it. Oh my gosh, Weeded's wise to it. Like a phoenix. Folks, from the shellacking that they took on the first map to rise out of the ashes and win in that manner is so impressive. What a win for XSET.